Holy, that's not good.
YouTube is tubing.
Checking. Your classic shell was hacked, Michael.
Oh, it's a good thing I didn't download it yesterday after we talked
about it.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, Jesus. That's what I'm going to talk about.
Download
No, it wasn't.
That's the worst
Oh,
thing
fuck
ever.
you.
Roger,
Fuck you. I've done the MD5 hashes.
like
it's fine. It's clean.
It's
the MD5 hashes are clean. He's
Michael, it's a terrible product. It's a worthless thing to do.
He's
It's a
misreporting
worthless program.
He's
No one
misreporting it.
It's worthless,
not worthless.
Michael.
It's not worthless.
It's
It's not worthless.
YouTube is going and looks good. Sounds good. So, all right. Welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is. Whoa. Sorry, my sound was still on very loud. Anyway, it is a Wednesday, and we are here mainly to provide support and answer any questions about our products and services. Otherwise, we'll spend the time talking about random tech stuff or just random stuff in general. If you do have any of those questions about our products or services, jump over to our IRC chat and you can talk to us live here, and we'll be more than happy to interrupt whatever we're talking about and discuss that instead. So, how is everyone doing today besides Michael?
Awesome.
Well, so far I've accomplished breaking off my car key while trying to break in the glove box of my car. So,
yeah, no good for you.
Nice.
All right. Well, the first thing I want to start off with, because Nick, I think you'll be the most interested in this, but everybody might be interested in it.
Okay.
So this SciShow has gone and done some research on the best way to poop, and they found that as long as you're pooping fine, you don't have to change what you're doing. That it's not worth going and getting a squatty potty. It's not worth changing anything about it. It's that it doesn't really make a difference. It's however you feel most comfortable and however things work out best for you. So
with the squatty potty, that is true.
So if poop is coming out on a regular basis, you're good.
Yeah, you don't have to go out and get a squatty potty. It's not going to make things better or worse for you.
Well, it will make them better. Because I was.
No, that's what they were saying. Is it doesn't matter.
Well, then I'm going to have to contest because I was pooping fine before, but I'm pooping great now.
Well, they were saying that the squatty potty things also make a lot of claims that have no basis or substantiation. So.
Oh, sure they do. But the truth is that before I even had it, for some reason, I don't know, because it helps, I was always like, on my toes, pushing my legs up and stuff like that anyway. So
yeah, so I mean, if that's how you prefer, then I mean, it's basically what I picked up from the video is it's a matter of personal preference. It's not, there's no scientific info that says one way is better than the other, and it's not something that everyone needs to go out and change how they poop. It's however you feel like pooping is fine. Yes, Phoenix, really, because that is a serious topic. Everybody is affected by that. Everybody in the world.
Jade took one of her squatty potties on vacation.
I'm sure everybody watching the show is pooping, and if they're not, they probably need a squatty potty.
Yeah, they might need to pay more attention to this if they're not. So, I thought that was pretty interesting. And this one was pretty interesting as well. Starbucks apparently had stainless steel straws that they were selling. Well, they've recalled 2.5 million of them. Caution, auto-playing video there. Because it is a laceration risk. Apparently, they sent out a whole bunch of straws that will just cut your mouth to shreds.
Well, why would you want to drink at Starbucks anyway? I mean, why would you want a stainless steel straw? That sounds dumb.
I don't
I
know.
mean, it sounds exactly like what happened would happen. That's why I'd seen them and I was like, no way.
The weird thing is, when we were in Washington, where Starbucks started, there was a big thing about having glass straws. Like the Space Needle and the other places we went to all had like glass straw souvenirs, and it's like, why would you want a glass straw?
Doesn't that cause a lot of like?
It kind of sounds cool. Like it kind of sounds a little sophisticated to have a glass or a stainless steel straw. But with my experience with my kids and just, straws that they like, cool like straws that like have, curls and stuff in them like that, they're extremely hard to keep clean. So I think it's probably better to use a disposable straw.
Well, yeah, any straw like that. I've seen those heavy plastic straws they have around here that you can reuse and take back in with the cheap plastic cup, and get your discounted refill of Italian ice or some garbage. But I mean, come on, it's like you can't clean them.
Yeah, you can. I don't want to drink out of that thing the second time.
Yeah, and they have those straw kits for the stupid Yeti things too. And it's like, why?
Well, the plastic curly ones, I never really had a big issue with. I mean, the cleaning part, maybe, but that's if you didn't, like, clean it right out after you finished it and you're drinking something like a shake or something that gets stuck in there and stays there. But yeah,
it would be aggravating for me even to clean one, especially a curly one. I mean, if you're talking about, even sugar from like a soda or something, I would really want to rinse it well, and it would be like one of those, there's soap in there, and you want to get all that out really well. And,
I mean, they do
make
make
sure you got all the soap out. You don't want to drink soap.
Yeah, and it's all about the environment. And you know what, hippies? If you don't like that, don't use any straws. What's the deal? I don't normally even do a straw when I go to a restaurant or anything, unless it's absolutely like I'm off-roading and I need it. You know how it is when you're driving.
I don't care to drink from a straw either.
I prefer it, but that's mainly because I have sensitive teeth.
So
well,
that's what I got to say about that.
Ice right up against my teeth. Something else interesting is apparently there's a brain-eating amoeba in South Carolina. So if you're in my state here, apparently don't go swimming. This guy.
That's been around.
Well, this guy thinks he got infected on July 24th in the Edisto River in Charleston County. So
not long ago, there was a thing about the aquatic center or some place or rapid place. Something.
In Charlotte.
Yeah, I'd heard about that, and they also, and like I'd said something to my doctor about that in my last appointment. She was like, "Don't worry about that."
Well, and at the bottom of the article here, it gives you some more details about the ability to get infected with it. Is you have to be swimming in water with it present, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
B, you have to jump in to the amoeba containing water feet first, allowing the water to go up through your nose with enough force that the amoeba can make its way to your brain, and then you have problems.
So it's not
extremely rare, but almost always fatal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not something that's going to go into your body, like you accidentally swallow some water, and then it's going to creep through the bloodstream and then break the blood-brain barrier or whatever membrane thing. And I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's, you can't be infected by merely drinking water containing it. But it does say you should avoid swimming or jumping into bodies of fresh water when the water is warm and the water levels are low. And you should also hold your nose or use a nose plug.
Yeah. Did you say can or can't by drinking it?
It cannot.
Right. Okay. All right. That's what I thought we were saying, but
it has to go up your nose.
Yeah, has to go up your nose.
Yeah, I always hold my nose if I don't. Yeah. Even in the pool.
Yeah. So this one was super
There are
interesting
only
to me.
138 infections reported in the U.S. in the last 53 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is that including
There
the
we go.
one right now?
I don't know if it's including the ones in South Carolina. It may have included the one in North Carolina a couple months ago.
Either way, that does make me worried about doing things like water skiing and swimming in lakes and rivers and things like that, though.
I guess the increase in cases recently could be due to the fact of warmer temperatures and maybe there's less water, like you were saying.
Well, I think too that possibly the flooding might have had a lot, because South Carolina had a lot of flooding and it all went straight down to Charleston, so they pretty much got like everything that was in South Carolina funneled down to them. I thought this was really cool. I'd never seen something like this before. A broken wind turbine. It caught on fire but was still spinning. It kind of actually makes you realize how fast those things are going, but it does look really cool because it makes spirals with the smoke coming off of it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was some of the ones I was really impressed with since yesterday. Phoenix points out another one that I had seen. Bitcoin price has dropped. It's dropped about $100, and that is because this morning or last night, a exchange had 63.3 or 5 million in Bitcoin stolen from it.
He reported a larger number. He reported.
Well, no, there was a lot of. I
Oh.
don't know where that 72 million came in, but most every site that I saw had 63.3.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. But it's interesting to note that since the price is dropping, since they're talking about Bitcoin and the price is dropping as they report the story, the value is.
Yeah, they're not saying. Yeah, they should have been saying how many Bitcoin.
Exactly. And why don't they do that? This is actually gross misreporting when they do this, because you could come back any point in the future and go back and analyze the same data and come up with an arbitrarily different number based upon whatever the current value of Bitcoin is. And if you pick the historical highs and the historical lows, you could represent the data.
Only $1 was stolen.
Yeah, you could say only $1 back in 1990, whatever, or 2000, whenever Bitcoin first came out. Yeah, but yeah. I really think that's error in reporting, and I believe it.
That is.
It just is another case in point for the stark drop in journalistic integrity as far as news is reported these days.
Well, speaking of journalists, apparently Microsoft keeps dossiers on journalists.
Dossiers, but anyway, it's a French word.
Accidentally sent one to Gizmodo.
That's cute. I think. Well, look, I thought everybody keeps dossiers, so to speak, on everyone. For instance, like the DNC has a dossier on Trump, and the RNC has a dossier on Clinton. I mean,
dossiers of Michael.
Huh? No, but
groups, everyone. Who do you keep dossiers on?
Well, I don't personally, but there's a lot of groups that do this for mainly, for political or mainly political purpose, I would imagine. I'm not sure of any other purpose other than PI work, but that's usually politically motivated or emotionally motivated, I guess. It's not necessarily a bad thing that somebody, it's like knowing your enemy. It's keeps your friends close, keep your enemies closer. It's that type of mentality that's going on.
It's a good rage song. Things. I happen to agree with that.
Well, it's all right, but I mean, like, are they? I guess the point is what they're using those for internally. Like, are they getting a message from a reporter and then saying, "Hey, look up this person, see if we want to answer them or not, or talk to them or not," or are they using it for like, "Oh, this person really likes us. Let's send them a press release and nobody else, or something like that. I guess the usage of those things are the biggest concern. Phoenix also pointed out a thing about the anniversary update. It says it hides programs. I updated yesterday. I didn't see anything.
It doesn't hide programs, but this is not anything new with the anniversary update. Windows 10 has been, in a lot of cases, uninstalling software it just deems to be incompatible or it deems to be malicious on your computer. It's an interesting tactic, and Microsoft hasn't fully explained it, not to my knowledge, and I need to do a little bit more research into it, but it's not just new with the anniversary update. And it doesn't just randomly hide things, and it won't just affect you. This is the problem with all these freaking headline news stories. There's specifics to this, who it will and how it will affect you, but
Yeah.
there's a
Well,
reason
I've never
behind
seen it hide any program. I mean, I've seen it when I do it warned me that it uninstalled a display driver because it wasn't compatible with this, with my USB display driver.
Yeah, so I mean, you see this type of behavior maybe, and you're seeing it in maybe slightly different ways than this, but it's basically.
But it doesn't hide it. It says
No, it doesn't hide it.
It like
Yeah, and again,
removes it. It doesn't just hide it. That's a terrible way to say that.
Misreporting.
It does force Skype on. I noticed that it was like,
does
oh, you're
Skype
signed
on.
into Skype. I was like, oh.
Now
well,
the apps, but that's always been the case. It's always pushed its apps, its bundled apps. Whenever a new version of Windows 10 comes out, if you somehow were able to have turned off Skype at some point in the past, or any other feature like Cortana, those things.
Yeah, but I don't see any reason why Windows 10 should let me sign in and then automatically sign me into Skype and not let me say, no, I don't want to be signed into Skype. I don't care.
Well, you can disable the use of Skype. You can turn off your. I mean, you don't have to use Skype just because.
I don't see anywhere easily accessible that says I can just exit Skype. It's not running in the system.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised though. This is them just I told you. I mean, this is the Cortana thing. I mean, you're talking about it from the Skype perspective, but the same way with Cortana, I feel like that's being forced upon me with the anniversary update, and you feel like Skype's being forced upon you with it. I already feel like
Cortana doesn't do anything unless you do something with it.
Yeah.
Skype signs you in and tells everybody that you're signed in.
There's no way within Skype
list, it shows you that
to sort of make yourself private. I would have thought
so why is it? But no, why is it signing me in the first place?
This is also another thing that I've noticed. Even if you choose to log in with a local account, every Microsoft service requires now some sort of Microsoft account to attach to it, would appear, and that they're having a stronger push towards this, and I'll see where it ultimately ends up. But I think what you're talking about is another example of them having done that. And so now whenever the app launches, which apparently you can't control when it's launching, it's going to connect to that. Their goal is basically to do away with local accounts, is I think what's they're gonna try to do, and force everyone, even if they have a local account, to effectively be feeding them data constantly because they're constantly logged into your Microsoft tracked account. So they're messing up. Anyway, this is kind of important. Anybody using Chrome on a mobile, I haven't received it yet on my Android device, but it looks like 52 is out for mobile. 52 is out, and it's supposed to have considerable performance improvements for video playback and battery life savings. So I'll try to give it a run. I don't do a whole lot of video on my phones, but the more you do, apparently, the bit better this will impact you. And I don't have anybody who's actually using it confirm it, but there does seem to be a lot of posts about it, including on Google's blog. So, yeah, I just wanted to, as usual, update your device. But I mean, that's pretty automatic these days with mobile devices. So.
Maybe mine doesn't. I made it so I have to go and manually update mine because I don't like it updating when I don't.
Oh, well, you might want to check. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't received it yet, the update, but I expect, like as usual, they're probably rolling it out in portions. Now, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the Pi news yet.
Wait, I wasn't done talking about the anniversary update. There's a lot.
Oh, okay. All right, then I'll wait. Sorry, keep going then.
Please, Michael.
I am. It took forever, first off. I think it took an hour and a half to 2 hours to update my system to the anniversary update. It was ridiculously long time to go through that process. Everything seemed to go smoothly except for my Sparko cam has been kind of acting up. Not too sure what's going on there, but I know it has drivers installed, and it did reinstall all of my drivers again, so maybe that's something to do with it. But the virtual desktops are much improved, and the show on all desktops is working great. It is really nice, which I hadn't noticed a lot of people talking about, is that the window positions do restore on multiple monitors now, so that's a really nice feature. Nick was even talking this morning that he was going to go find a program that he had purchased that did that for him, and I was like, well, actually...
Yeah, I bought one like a couple months ago, and I've been too busy to set it up. And I was just like, especially when I went to virtual desktops and everything else, and it didn't have a trial.
Yeah, but the new one, new anniversary update does restore your window position, so that's kind of nice. Otherwise, I really haven't. What's that?
Thanks for nothing.
I really haven't seen any other big changes that are affecting me in my daily workflow, so it seems pretty stable and all right so far.
And that crypto prevent thing, we keep getting the questions about that, and people that aren't sure. Can you put the minds at ease?
What crypto prevent thing?
Oh, you need to make sure that you can apply the software restriction policies. We do not anticipate that being an issue, but I don't believe I have an anniversary copy to test with. So, if you could.
But on a home version, because I don't have a home version.
Pro's fine. I mean, because they apply those policy, they're cutting those things out on Pro too.
Yeah, it's not just home. It's home and Pro. The only thing it doesn't affect is enterprise. But that's, again, going to be, it's specifically supposed to be for the App Store and...
No, there were specific policies. It didn't say they removed all policies.
No, right, that's correct, but we have had those people...
We don't know what it's going to affect, and yeah, there have been a few people...
Still question that.
Contacted, yeah.
You mean you haven't installed crypto yet?
I do have a home version. Let me go see.
Phoenix, I don't understand. Phoenix has written back to me about my theory about the local accounts, but I don't understand, Phoenix. What does local account have anything to do with the? I mean, enterprise, I'm not really concerned about. We know that they're not doing that to their enterprise customers. They get all the exceptions, because they're on the plans. I'm not concerned about that. I'm 90% of everyone else out there.
Even Pro can hook up to a domain, though.
I understand. Well,
so Pro is not going to lose local accounts either.
Then they could just force them to domain account. I don't know.
What?
They could force a roaming account usage. They could do a lot of things.
That's a local account. If it's a domain account, it's a local account. Well, it's actually a live account, just different. So they're not going to change that, but it's still based on a local account.
Yeah, we'll see. They're doing something with that. They're trying to get everybody onto the Microsoft account thing, and just maybe it makes it irrelevant. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's completely irrelevant, the local account. Maybe it's not going away. It's just going to be so moot that they don't care, and they're going to make it so that all their services, like I said, connect to the Microsoft.
Dude, they got a bug from Windows 95. They have a bug from Windows 95 still in Windows 10. I doubt they're going to be removing local accounts anytime soon.
That's interesting.
Considering how much Windows depends on your account.
Okay, so the anniversary update's coming to WSUS and System Center on August 16th. So it looks like...
yeah, I thought it was interesting they made it wait so long.
Yeah, but anybody who wants to get it right now, I believe, can just download the media creation tool and use that to upgrade your system. That has been updated. I've confirmed that that's been updated already. I also, let's see, let me just throw this one out. This is a changing passwords frequently, possibly not a good. So this article is this is actually a research paper, and it's kind of, you have to read into the paper to fully grasp it. But you can read the abstract, and you can read the discussion at the end. But basically, they're finding that at least their data in a large scale study. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think it was that large, but it is probably one of the larger ones that have been done in this type of analysis, and it does seem to support that there's not an improvement, possibly even a loss, when it comes to frequently changing your passwords.
Well, the reason they say it's possibly a loss is because you're more likely to use worse passwords if you have to change them often.
Yeah, but they were going on actual user data, so they're mining actual.
But the other side of that is they were saying that if there's attackers that are in your network and you don't know about them yet, that's why you should change your password. And it's like, well, if you change your password and they got your password the first time and you don't know about them, why wouldn't they get your password the second time?
And giving them multiple passwords of yours is only further deteriorating your security. There's a, I'm not saying that this study took every approach into concern, but I do like the fact, again, and I'll focus on this, that they did use a large number of accounts to cull their data from, thousands of accounts, 7,000, I mean, maybe more, I'm not sure. But they monitored those and did a lot of analysis on what the users were actually doing, and would suggest that this is somewhat representative of users in general out there. And if, sure, there's going to be people that don't, are much more harder when they, they told to change their password, they put in a 150 character password the next time. There's going to be people like that. But then there's going to be other people who'll be like, I'll just find another pattern on my keypad to type out my password with and hope that that's going to be easy for me to remember. That's not the best approach. Just like Phoenix was mentioning the other day, the most common PIN is 8520 or 0258 because it's just a straight up and down line on your keypad. Numeric keypad. So, people are going to act differently, but what this is saying is that maybe if you're going to be proffering up security advice to the general public, maybe we need to clarify it, and maybe we need to see what the general public is actually doing. Because, changing your password might be a good idea if you're going to make it stronger. Changing your password and using the same password techniques that you've been using, or doing a circumstance like we were talking about with the person already monitoring already hacked into you and just giving them more of your passwords, none of that's gonna help. So we have to be careful when we offer some security advice. Blindly saying and launching like that was outlined in, I guess this is maybe a more detailed article covering the issue that ours, kind of digs through. I like their analysis of generally, but it this was written in response to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, basically tweeting that they should encourage their loved ones to change their passwords often. And you have to wonder, it sounds like good advice on the surface, but where did they get that data from? Where did they decide? Just wake up one day and if you're in a position of authority and you're offering advice,
everybody is continuously said, Michael. It's not just the FCC got like that data from somewhere.
Well, but again, another point. Everybody said it's good to floss. Everybody said it's good to floss, and
Microsoft is even making it so that you change your password.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
And Michael, I was just at the dentist, and not only did they tell me to floss every day, but that was key, but they did it for me.
Yeah, but ask them why. Ask them why and tell them to show you the studies that support that, because all the studies are broken.
How about the people who work there every day, who know better?
They're just repeating the same things they've been repeating for 50 years.
They're repeating what they're telling you what they see in their job because they've been doing it for 10 years. Shut up and move on. You know nothing. Study. No one who studies that crap even works in the field.
Dentists want to make money, and
shut up.
Being given money by the flossing people to promote their industry. It
sucks today.
Why things work. The point is, we need to question things. Just because you've been doing something a long time doesn't mean it's the right thing. Everybody should do this in their lives. Reflect on everything that you do, and just assume that you're doing it the right way. just because you've been doing it for a long period of time.
That's actually decent advice from an idiot. Weird.
All right, so my system that has home keys is not set up right now, so I have to set it up with 10 and then test it. But I don't see any reason why. The SRPs are so baked in, I doubt that they would remove that.
But it would even happen on a Pro, though, for the policy removal that they're trying to do, which I know is just for those policies, but even people are wondering about that with their Pro systems. Would be you could just try it on your Pro system.
Trying to see if there's any things that tell you exactly a list of what's going to be supported. Nope. The only one I see is that GHacks one, and I don't know if he lists everything.
No, he doesn't. I mean, we don't know, but that dude, you know that dude. So.
Yeah, he didn't list very many, so I kind of curious about that. Anyway, so we'll look more into it, but we don't see any reason why that should change or affect it. I thought this was really cool that Hulu is getting into the live TV service, and all of Turner Network is going to be available to watch live on Hulu. They don't tell you when.
Who? What?
Hulu.
Does anyone have Hulu?
I mean, you don't have to pay for Hulu. You can just watch Hulu.
Well, I know, but even if you pay for it, you get their ads or something. I mean,
no, they got a new plan that took out that.
The tiered. Tiered plan.
You get free and you get a whole bunch of commercials. You get paid and you get some commercials, and then you get super paid and you get no commercials.
Yeah, I'm on something paid.
Suck it. I can suck it.
I'd like to.
Commercials are kind of interesting. They're pretty good commercials.
So, and they're going to have commercials on the Hulu? Is that what you said, Brantley?
What? You're not paying attention. I'm not repeating myself.
Okay. At any rate, yeah, dude, this is crazy, this story about the FBI. Excuse me, I didn't want to cough, but yeah, so they were trying to, investigate this case, and they were having some problems because they were, putting wires on people, and it wasn't working. Their traditional tactics of surveillance weren't yielding the results that they were hoping for, because their people that they were surveilling were kind of getting wise to them monitoring them. So they said, why even bother targeting them? We'll just record everyone. Keep in mind, this is a courthouse, okay, in a public space with primarily lawyers and people who are probably involved in a case. They're talking about very sensitive information, and they are even going out of their way to protect their
privacy.
No, I know, but they're going out of their way. They're not shouting. They're whispering. Communications.
In fact, I was actually surprised it's not always recorded in a courtroom. I would imagine.
It's the judge ruled that it's a Fourth Amendment violation. This is explicitly where it can't be done. It's the one place where it absolutely cannot be done.
Well, imagine in the back room, like the little conference thing, but not in the courtroom.
They put this out on the front steps of the courthouse. Basically, they put microphones all over the front of the courthouse. And
good. Who cares? Unless you're in the little private room.
Well, the Constitution cares.
Well, if it's in the front of the courthouse, it's public domain and public space.
Read what the judge said. Read what the judge said.
Oh, did the judge not know his own laws or something? Or do you just love it?
You don't understand the laws as they pertain to us correctly.
Well, I know you don't generally, so especially if you're talking about it. So
Jeez, so testy today.
It was the entrance to the courthouse, so it actually was inside the courthouse. It's the entrance to the courthouse, so it wasn't public property, by the way.
That's still public government property.
No, it's not, because they specifically say that
Thank you, Beavis.
defendants have established that they believe their conversations were private and they took reasonable steps to thwart eavesdroppers. So the FBI basically ruined their case against somebody who was probably guilty here because they didn't follow the law. This is just crazy. I mean, we can't even have our own law enforcers following the law. But
Wonder how much whoever paid to get that decision from that judge.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is this is another case of those headlines that Michael said to be careful about reading, because it's the first judge, so they're obviously going to appeal this. And at pretty much the last paragraph is in a legal sentence. It's completely legal to record in public spaces, assuming people there don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy. This, of course, is open to interpretation. The courthouse grounds are indeed public, but court proceedings are generally prohibited, recording devices and the like. In the essence, the argument stems from whether these were court proceedings and if you would assume a reasonable expectation of privacy while discussing private affairs in a public place. So if you're in the middle of the courthouse, not in a courtroom, if you're in the middle of a courthouse and you're talking about your case,
but the law says expectation of privacy. All you have to prove is that they have an expectation of privacy.
They don't. They're in public.
I know.
If I'm standing right
The
behind
law,
you, no,
the
Michael,
law is written.
if I'm standing right beside you,
How can you have any expectation of privacy unless you're in your bedroom anyway?
unless you're in,
that expectation of privacy is up to the person. So really, if the person believes they're in a private setting, whether or not they are actually in a private setting, that's what the law says. Now, you might not agree with that law.
Michael, that doesn't make any sense. No, Michael, that doesn't make any sense. Because if I'm out in public and I go, oh, I have a reasonable expectation of privacy, then I'm not in public anymore? That doesn't make any sense.
It would be up for somebody to interpret that, the judge or the jury. But
So it's not up to you, it's up to a judge or jury to interpret it. And honestly, if you're in the middle of a courtroom, then you have a right to privacy. But if you're in the courthouse, I don't see any reasonable right to privacy.
To have a standing to claim protection under the Fourth Amendment, one must first demonstrate an expectation of privacy, which is merely not a subjective expectation in mind, but an expectation that society is prepared to recognize as reasonable.
Exactly, and nobody in society recognizes that inside a courthouse is private. If I go in a courthouse and I yell out, if I went in a courthouse and I yell, I murdered everyone,
that's your opinion.
Get arrested. Because I would not have any reasonable expectation of privacy.
Okay, there's a test against the expectation of privacy based upon a previous court case. Let's see. Let's look at this. They said there was no physical entrance into the area occupied by the petitioner. That was a clear case of it. So maybe you're right on this.
All right. So anyway, no more from Michael today. I thought this was a really interesting article, and it kind of relates to the technology side, Beavis. And what I was really interested in, and one of the first pictures on there, is because of Dexter's exploration into this. Dexter's job was a forensic scientist. Blood splatter expert. So it's actually really interesting how they do those things, and I really liked how Dexter went through and kind of explained those situations where he was trying to explain those things. You do have to use some physics, and I guess there's technology available to...
Oh, there is a physical entrance in the courthouse, so actually this proves not...
Michael.
Case.
Stop talking. Just stop talking today. Hey Glenn, if you're there, did you know that Australia is one of the few places, or possibly only places, to have railroad drawbridges. So instead of two railroad tracks just crossing each other and having like a diamond intersection or whatever they usually use, there's a place in Queensland, or off the north coast, Queensland, Australia, where there's 12 drawbridge railroad crossings. Kind of weird. Interesting looking. Not sure why they went with that instead of the other way, but it's cool. Hey, our favorite Louis Rosmond Apple repair guy has a new video about why you should not eat over your laptop or computers. He did make a pretty interesting thing about having to repair stuff that has food all in it. And the other side, though, was that he had a point about when you eat and you have your laptop or computer, you should have your computer further away than your food is. So if your food has to travel over your laptop, you're doing it wrong, basically. If you happen to put your hand in your food while you're eating or working on your laptop, that's better than putting your food inside your laptop. This is pretty cool from the Backyard Scientist. He did a flamethrower versus a freeze ray. And it's kind of like one of those Dragon Ball Z, two people shooting at each other with fireball type things. Pretty cool looking. That's technology. Oh, so did y'all hear this? That apparently 8 terabyte hard drives are some of the best ones with the lowest failure rates?
Yeah, I just don't know if they've deployed enough of them to make that broad of a statement. But I do like Rackspace's analysis. I do think they probably are one of to see actual data.
I'm not a big fan of seeing these cloud people try to.
They're the primary ones who buy the storage. They would be the ones to know, and they deploy so many of these things that they're the only ones that can provide this type of data.
Yeah, but the data that they're giving is so easily skewed. Like if they only bought 2 of this model,
they offer up that data, and as long as you do the right analysis of it and don't, maybe make broad conclusions based upon a small sampling. But so far, it looks like they're 8 terabytes. It looks like their 8 terabyte drives, though, do tend to, at least in the short term, operate more reliably than the same time over for the earlier ones. It's just possible that the drive manufacturers have matured a little bit more, and it's typically not until the 10 gigabyte barrier where you have to start transitioning to those newer, like shingle technologies and things like that, shingle magnetic recording that I talked about previously. So those are probably the more complicated drives that are more probably likely to be prone to failure just because they're new and they haven't been as tested and time tested. But it may be that the 8 terabyte is a kind of a gold point there in stability for the hard drives. Who knows? We'll see. But it's interesting data if you're looking to buy stuff. And I
don't see why
on to the manufacturers, the ones that they're talking about. They still say Seagate has a relatively high failure. They talk about Toshiba, I think, having a relatively low failure along with Western Digital.
I don't see why people like Amazon and Google aren't putting out these kind of reports.
Because they're not spending their time to do that. I wish that they would, though, because that would be better data, but it would also mean that they would have to tell people what they were doing and effectively, because they could see. That's the whole thing. Rackspace shows people how to build their servers. Google doesn't share with everyone how they keep their servers cool, where they put them, what they do with them, and how much storage they put on them, and what their just backbone is, and all that other stuff. All those details they consider somewhat to be trade secrets, and if not, they just don't want to spend the time to advertise what they're doing with that. They have better things maybe to do with their resources. But I'm glad some cloud provider is doing that. And yes, the data from Google or Microsoft might be larger, and I would certainly be welcome. But anything right now, any data is good data when there's a lack and dearth of it out there otherwise.
Yes, it can be this, so be careful. I thought this was pretty cool. Artisto transforms your videos into moving paintings. Looks pretty cool from the pictures. I haven't tried it out yet. I think this is also that same technology that did the New York as the living painting kind of thing. So it looked pretty cool. I thought this was really cool, and I really want one of these. A carbon fiber spinning robot. So it wall rides and spins carbon fiber structures. And the picture there, they got a pretty awesome freaking carbon fiber hammock on the side of a wall.
Looks like
a robot spider.
just a reminder about the anniversary update. This isn't anything new, but of course you might want to remove the previous one to free up disk space if you have a smaller SSD. It's a valid point for SSDs.
How about this? You're able to print 3D holograms with your inkjet printer now. Thought that was pretty cool. It looks like you have to like do some layering with it though. Still, that's cool. I'd like holograms. Hey, do y'all remember that weird bus that China was talking about to make travel easier so that like the cars could go under the bus? Well, they actually built it already. We just talked about that earlier this year. I think that's an awesome idea. I really wish they would do that here because it sucks to be stuck behind a bus.
I posted an article there. Yep, you can actually force the update to be delivered through. Microsoft has a page to force the update. That's kind of interesting. I don't know what that actually does. If that does it through the Windows update, I'm gonna guess that it. No, you download it. So that's a downloadable upgrade if you want it to launch before it's delivered to you. So I guess it's not going to come. You got it through straight up Windows updates, Brantley.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. And you weren't on the preview builds or anything?
Nope.
Okay. Well, you know, I don't know what schedule they're doing. I don't know why I don't have it on any of my devices, for instance. And I don't know why I know the rest of us don't have it, but that's interesting how they choose that.
Did you check for updates?
I did.
Let
me try again.
It's probably because of their dossier on you. They're like, oh, don't give that IP address anything. Make him go the hard route.
Maybe they.
I can see them doing that.
No, actually, it is being offered to me now. Oh shit. Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Yeah. So nobody needs to force it. I guess.
It is because you need to download more RAM, Michael. Hey, did anyone ever read Nintendo Power? I remember seeing a couple.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I used to have a subscription.
You can
I
read.
used to read his.
You can read the first 13 years of it on archive.org now.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for that link. You know why? Because I'm currently playing Dragon Warrior, and I'm almost done beating it. But I recall there being. I wanted to answer a question, and I think they had an answer in Nintendo Power, but you know, without a way to access that, I never could confirm. But now it looks like if I can do a full text search, I should be in business. My luck.
Dragon Warrior was one of my favorite games.
Dragon Warrior, yeah, I mean, I don't think it was as good as Final Fantasy as far as an RPG is concerned. I believe Final Fantasy was a little bit better, but the subsequent Dragon Warriors, I think, made it a little bit more modern in terms of RPG features. But it was a fun game. I mean, all those old school games were fun. The original Castlevania, Metroid, SMB, particularly SMB3, Kid Icarus, even. Wow. Lots of fun memories, and reading that again, I think would be a trip down memory lane. I believe I used to look forward to every single, right? It was a monthly issue, came out every month, right?
Yeah.
I used to look forward to it so much. It was the one thing that I wanted to, and I waited, for it to arrive. And like, we don't do that anymore. I mean, do any of us rely upon a subscription like that anymore for data? Do we pay subscriptions to access our data online even?
The internet.
I mean, we pay for internet access, yes, but that's a little bit different than paying for, like, for instance, if you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal or something like that. I just don't do much of that. I don't like paywall.
I don't either. Occasionally, I'll grab a magazine off the news rack. It's normally some kind of car magazine or something.
Yeah, but I don't really see myself. I don't see Nintendo Power being resurrected for having an Xbox One or something like that. Or no, well, it wouldn't be an Xbox One, but
yeah,
the Nintendo NX.
One of the things good about the Nintendo Power was it, they had a lot of walkthroughs and things like that. And today it would just be extremely simple, just to Google for it and get a walkthrough or whatever.
YouTube.
Well,
so many walkthroughs, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe a trusted source for that information, though, because there's a lot of people that I know personally searching for hacks or walkthroughs or cheats to games and stuff like that. It can be a treacherous, venture out there to maybe get some of those things, and it might be nice for consumers to have a trusted place to get that data. But I guess paying journalists to write.
Usenet, that's a subscription to get data.
No, Usenet. Good point. Using it for.
So I thought this was really cool. Have any of y'all actually seen the new Jason Bourne movie? I haven't yet either. So
no, but I've heard a lot of stories about them being bad on the tech aspect, especially if you do the unjust comparison to Mr. Robot, because Mr. Robot's probably at the all the way in the other direction.
What's interesting about that though is that Hack 5 had some of their stuff featured in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's interesting. Maybe I do need to watch the movie, because maybe the headlines, as you so often put it, are bullshit.
And they're doing a 15% off discount on selected products. So if you wanted something from Hack 5, they got 15% off now with that link.
For anyone?
Through August 4th. Yes,
Excuse me.
it is for everyone with that coupon code BORN5.
That's on the site. Yeah, the link that you
But
sent.
it stops tomorrow, so.
Stops tomorrow. Oh, damn it.
The field kit is a really, really worthwhile investment. It gets you everything that you see there. If you get the higher priced one, you'll get the Wi-Fi pineapple as well. Plus, it gets you a lot of other neat little things, and the carrying case is extremely useful and handy. So, very, very nice there. And yeah, it was interesting. I haven't seen the movie, so now I'm actually excited to see the movie and see how they got featured.
NVIDIA continues to just dominate. They were previously comparing their new 1080 release with the Titan X, the previous generation Titan X, the Maxwell-based Titan X, and against, but people were saying, well, are they going to have a Titan X with the Pascal architecture? And of course they are, and they did release it. It's the same price as the previous one, $1,200. So it was a little bit of a mistake for people to compare the in my opinion, the 1080 to the previous Titan X, because yeah, sure, it was still $1,200 at the time, but then a week later, of course, you probably find those cards dramatically reduced in price, consider you can get a brand new one for the same price with the new generation and the improved performance. The performance is, oh my God, just blows you away. It's these crazy numbers. You could throw anything at this 4K and VR at the same time, and it probably will do just fine. The 4K numbers are rather impressive. The lowest frame rate I think I saw for 4K was 48 frames per second. That's pretty impressive for that resolution, considering, and a lot of times, anytime above, as we know, 45 for the VR is acceptable, at least for some people. And of course, you're never going to have a VR game that's going to do the. I'm comparing it to as if you took like Warhammer and made it into a VR game, or a new DX12 based game and made it into a VR game. So Total War Warhammer, by the way. That was the quote I was pulling from. But it's just terribly impressive. They have a complete domination of the upper tier there, and if you're doing scientific work with the cards, or if you're doing gaming, high-end gaming with the cards, might justify this. Although I think this is probably
the Pascals aren't for gaming.
No, they're all based on the Pascal architecture. The 1080 and the Titan X are both based on the same architecture, but the Titan X is not geared, I guess.
No, the Pascal is the one that comes with the 12 gigs. That's their other one. They have two different lines of card, or maybe it's the Quadro.
Yeah, they're going to have a Quadro version. They have a Quadro version of the Titan X too, but I don't know where the Titan X does in comparison to the Quadro. I think it's just Quadro by a different name.
I think the Quadro is the graphics side, and the 1080 stuff is the gaming side. From what I understand.
Okay, so they're saying the Quadro is the Titan X for workstations. So yeah, the Titan X is towards workstations.
It also costs like $2,000. It's the lowest one.
Yeah. So I'm looking at here. The previous one cost over $4,000. So I don't even know what this one's going to cost.
Yeah, they're expensive. They are not cheap. Well, I thought this was a really cool page as well, but probably would not recommend checking it out if you're not a fan of heights, because he just casually walks around the top of buildings. I definitely would not be one to do that.
Here is an interesting comparison of price-wise versus. That's an interesting site here. You can pick any card. It looks like that they have listed, and they give you a lot of data, but this is data from the net. So,
Was this the Raspberry Pi news you were talking about, where the security camera you can build a pan and tilt?
No, it's not. It's completely different. Actually, the Pi news I had wasn't about a Raspberry Pi. It was about an Israeli-based alternative to the Raspberry Pi focused on networking. It's about $70, so about twice the cost of a Pi. But it does seem to have a lot of features if your project involved more networking. It has two, gigabit Ethernet ports, I believe. It would be great for a router box, gateway box, things like that.
Here's the life hacker paste on that too. I thought that was really cool. It might actually make me use my Arduino prior to.
Oh, you do have one of those Arduinos. I'd love to hear if you play around with that. I wanted to buy one to use with one of my SPCs, but I again didn't have a project to do with it. But maybe something simple like this tilt and pan thing. You got to get the camera though too, but the camera's dirt cheap, isn't it? The one that attaches to the Pi, the official camera. It's like $20, isn't it? Something like that.
You don't have to get the camera. You can use any camera, any webcam.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Well, so what's the? Oh, okay, I gotcha.
They're just using it with a Pi and an Arduino.
Okay, but you do know what I'm talking about. There is that Pi camera,
yeah, there is
the accessory that they sell.
They have an infrared one even now.
Ooh.
I thought this was pretty crazy. So apparently power went out in Tokyo's Disney World, or Disneyland, is it? Disney Resort, I guess. So Disney World is in Florida, Disneyland is in there, and I think all the other ones have to be called Disney something else. But yeah, would that not be crazy to be stuck in any Disney place without power? That would be creepy as crap. Especially with like all the costumed characters walking around dressed up and stuff. That would be freaky. All right, well, we've made our hour time limit. I'll leave off with, let's see if there's a good one. Oh, yeah, this one was interesting to me. So this bar, and we'll leave off with this, is they built a Faraday cage around the bar so that it forces you to not be able to use your cell phone. So instead of having a no cell phone policy, they just decided to make the cell phones not work. I kind of question the tactic.
I don't, because I would argue that they would drink more if you can't use the phone. You probably
No, it's not about that. But why would people go there? Like,
I mean,
a lot of time when people are out and about drinking, they're on the phone trying to get in touch with their friends to come and drink.
I would look where this is. This could be in a smaller community. It could be in an older community. It could be in a, you know.
Well, it's in England where they have a much different bar environment
culture.
than America. So.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if it's useful to make comparisons, but it may work for them. But obviously, he'll know. I mean, if we follow up and, you know, a month or two from now, if the guy puts it back, takes it out, but I'd imagine that's an expensive thing to put in as well as to take out. He did something with the walls, I would imagine. Maybe it's a coating, maybe it's a paint. I don't know. I didn't read the details, but. I imagine he would have done some thought analysis.
Michael Proctor, why is the screen all black? Twitch and YouTube are all black. Proctor?
YouTube went black. Oh, I accidentally minimized Ring Center just a minute ago.
That would do it.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up for today. We've made it to our hour. I'll also do one other last link here, that your Poke cards are worthless. Interesting video there. But we will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. And again, we're here to primarily answer any questions about our products or services. Otherwise, we'll just ramble on here. So we'll be back doing the same thing tomorrow. And hope to see everyone then. Thanks everyone for joining us. Take us on out, Proctor.